Good morning, my Teaserking family. How's everybody today? I am doing fine. Uh, we've got 5 games today. We lost on our free pick yesterday, Alabama, Oklahoma under. It was like 2 different games. Um, was the play correct? Yeah. They played a 23-21 game earlier, and there was no thought of playing the game over, certainly, with these defenses. Just a second, I got to get my pita. Had to eat my Celtic salt. I just take a couple of crystals of Celtic salt and just eat them and then drink it down with the water. All right. So it was 2 different games yesterday. Oklahoma starts up 17-0. Alabama couldn't do anything. Then all of a sudden, Alabama scores on a 4th down, which I obviously disagreed with. They needed to get points. And then they go out and tear up Oklahoma, and Oklahoma does have. All of a sudden, Mateer didn't do anything. He reverted back to being shitty again. So, Alabama showed a lot winning at Oklahoma, and they had lost at home to them. So, good game. It happens. Was it a good bet? Yeah. All my bet was the same as the Ram Seattle, take the dog. So all you can do is make good bets, and that's why you don't win 100%. It was a good bet. It was logical, both teams with good defenses, but at the end of the day, you had a pick six from Alabama, and you had the punter couldn't punt. I guess it was a lot more windy than they showed you because the punter was hitting 20-yard punts. But I think that's why I went under in the game. I go, if it's windy, they're not going to be able to throw the ball, which they really didn't. I don't like Mateer. He runs too much. You got to have a running game. You got to have some running backs. I don't think you can have your quarterback being your running back. That doesn't work. All right. Real quickly, gold 43.40. Again, it's still sitting in that 43.20 to 43.50 range. I would think it's going to explode this week because what you have is if it doesn't go down, people realize the dollar's worthless. You got everybody running into silver, and they'll go, why? They don't know why they're going into silver. This is my favorite pet peeve about people. They do a lot of things that they don't know why they're doing it, but they do it because other people do it. And it's really big trouble. The sheep, people are sheep, most of them, not us. We're the wolves. We're not the sheep. But most people just follow along. Why are you buying silver? I don't know, because it's going up. Do you know why it's going up? Have you ever heard of inflation? The definition of inflation. So anyway, that's what's happening. So people get into things without knowing why, because they're not taught it. I was talking to a lifeguard, and and she's in school, and we just said, but they don't teach you anything. You don't know anything. It's not like you're stupid. You just, if you're not taught that the sun rises in the east and sets in the west, you just don't pay attention to it. It just does. So there's a lot of problems with that. There was no Mark McGuire yesterday, which I was surprised. There was some other idiot who was on the channel, and he says, "Oh, we'll have an Austrian economist explain Austrian economy to you," which he didn't. He did a bad job. He didn't even understand it was Adam Smith. I mean, that's the first thing. That's what Austrian economics is, observations, right? So he didn't know what that was. And, it's A, free trade, B, a standard, a solid money supply backed by gold, laws, small army, and small government. That's what Austrian economics is. That's what we strive for. So this guy didn't get any of it. Well, he was from the von Mises Institute. Well, just because you go to the von Mises does not make you an economist. This is what these guys keep struggling. This is why it's tough with Austrian economy to be an Austrian economist, because everybody wants to be Keynesians because they like stealing money and everything. All right, let's go to football. So 3 playoff games today. Let's start there. And then we got 2 NFL games, which are basically, one's a playoff game. So we start off at noon. We got Miami of Florida at Texas A&M. We had A&M 3.5, 48.5. I have played this game. Basically, they're both A teams. Miami with the 13 defense, A&M more with the 25 defense. So when you analyze this, and the total was 49, we'll call it, because it's 48.5, 49. And the question is, what do you do with an A team with a 13 defense? And really, I guess this would be A&M more of an over team with the 25 defense. The game's at A&M. Well, the game was at Oklahoma. Alabama, not a problem, barely an inconvenience. So it's not like last year where the home teams, it was new. Now, I think Miami is ready to go to A&M. I don't think it'll be, A&M's going to win by 20. You hear Herb Kirkstreet say it, last year was all that. Am I the only one who hates Herb Kirkstreet and think he's an idiot and he doesn't add anything of value to the game? I can't even stand listening to him talk. He's so stupid. Oh, look at that block by that guard or whatever. You're like, okay. Anyway, so he says, last year all the home teams won. Yeah, well, this is Oklahoma, Alabama. This isn't like playing SMU or some of those crap teams they played last year. And then they gave buys to like the James Madison and the Tulanes, where they had buys and had first game around. I mean, it's so stupid. At least this year, they gave the buys to the right teams. And I still don't love these home games. I'm not sure what that's about. This is a playoff. Now the NFL, yes, they're all at home except for the Super Bowl, which has been a home game for Tampa and the Rams. But I don't really like it. Like Alabama had to play. It wasn't too cold in Oklahoma, but if it was the week before, it would have been 20 degrees out. So my analysis of this game, you got 2 A teams. Carson Beck, been there before for Georgia, decent quarterback. A&M, I don't know. I like their quarterback until the Texas game when he threw 2 picks with a minute left in the game and fucked our over. Not really happy about that. Miami's shown a very good defense lately, a 13 defense. And really, even when they played Florida or Florida State, teams that are decent, not good, but Florida, I mean, had their quarterback sucked. I love how the quarterback goes and transfers. Langway, like who wants him and who would pay for him? The guy stinks. What was it? The 5 interceptions against LSU or what? They held a good South Florida team. I'm talking Miami down, who scored a lot. Pitt and NC State, they held a touchdown. Who are both high-scoring teams. NC State was an over team with the 29 defense, means they scored 35, 40 points a game. They held them to 7. I think this will be a close game. I don't really have a score. Um, yeah, no, probably a tease the dog game, I feel. Miami has a strong defense, right? So it's the question is you got to be afraid of the A&M quarterback going. Again, they put up 41 on a really good Notre Dame defense. They had that going. So he lit up Arkansas, but Arkansas came close. I think this will be a tease the dog game. If I was over under, I don't know. Because Miami with this great defense, and really, I don't think they get. I think Notre Dame had the most at 24 points. I don't think anybody really lit them up. So it's hard to go over with a good defense. A&M's defense, pretty good, but they got lit up by Notre Dame, by Arkansas, and then Texas with Arch Manning put up some. So I really don't want to bet a Miami game over, and I really don't want to bet an A&M game under. So it kind of neutralizes that. 43 probably goes over 43. If it doesn't, then Miami's winning the game because they'll just shut them down with their defense. So I think it's a tease the dog game, basically, which you all know what that means, Prophet. So I got lucky 2 nights in a row. First was Seattle comeback, and then Bama last night. Yeah, Bama. I thought Bama was out of it. I was like, it's 17-0. They couldn't even get a first down. But as you know, I had the game under. Because I didn't know who was the dog. I'm seeing Alabama -1. I'm seeing Oklahoma -1. I think it was more Alabama -1 was the dog. And what do you do with it? So I just left it at that, where I just went under. Yeah, today, tease the dog. Then we got Tulane Ole Miss. This is confusing. Ole Miss 17.5, 57.5. You would think would be high scoring. Tulane I have as an A team with a 22 defense, so they're almost an over team. And Ole Miss is an over team with the 25 defense once I went last 5. Problem is both teams have new coaches for this game. I don't understand. The coach leaves and this is a playoff game, and yet both coaches are gone. Tulane's went to Florida, and as you know, Ole Miss went to LSU. I wonder if I'll hire Bobby on his staff. 25 defense, 22. I would. My first thought is over because it's Ole Miss. My second thought is Ole Miss because they're at home, but Tulane's a pretty good team. Do they deserve to be there? Yeah, because they beat North Texas. I think they deserve to be there. And Ole Miss, I don't buy they're the 6th-ranked team, but they're there. We know how explosive they are. So this maybe you go over with it. Do you take Mississippi -11? Well, not without the coach. I'm very leery of the new coach coming in. Now, he's supposedly not going to change anything. But I think it's like the Lions with Ben Johnson. I think, well, he'll leave. We'll just keep going with the same offense. But it's the uniqueness. It's like how I handicap versus anybody else, right? You can't replace me. Right. I see things in a certain way that nobody else does. And so that creates, can you just replace? Well, I'll use his system. I'll go with the teaser system and I'll do the last 5. But I have that intuition that nobody else has. So I don't know. I'm not running to take Ole Miss -11.5. Possibly the over in the game. Now that I redid it, they both have like 22, 23 defenses. Possibly go there over 50. We will see. But I think Tulane realizes they need to score. I don't think they're going to stop Ole Miss from scoring. And that's at 3:30. And then our last game is James Madison at Oregon. Oregon 20.5, 45.5. This has gone down dramatically from 50 to 47, 45.5. They're both A teams, and they both have really good defenses. James Madison of 15 and Oregon of 14. Oregon's lost 30-20 at home to Indiana. They beat USC and they beat Washington pretty good. I just think Oregon's going to kill them. This is a big difference. Oregon's coach didn't leave. They play very well at home. They beat USC and Washington. And I think they won at Washington. They beat the Penn State game. I mean, they play some good teams. And they played a 50-point game with Indiana, which I had that game over. I think it was over 46 or something. As you keep coming down, I'm beginning to like the over in the game also. I think Oregon kills them because there's no way James Madison's way outclassed here. But I don't know that James Madison's going to score. I think they're at most they'll get 7 points. This will be a 44-7 game. The problem with the over is, like in the NC State game, I can't believe I lost the NC State Memphis game. It's 31-7 at half. I need 50. I got 38 in the half. And then something strange happens. They pull both quarterbacks and go to the backups to get them ready for next year. What the fuck? You're in a bowl game and Memphis just quits and NC State can't find a touchdown. I couldn't believe what I saw. And so I lose the over of that game. It was a shitty day yesterday, which is a good sign. That means I'll have a good weekend. We already hit the Rams and 8 on Thursday, so that's a good sign too. But it was one of those things. I played NC State over with Memphis, who normally they both score a lot. 38 at half, we couldn't get it in. And then Alabama. So if you were with me, you'll see me then play Alabama again because I want Alabama in a teaser, and I've just got it knocked out. So I played Alabama under with another game. So that's why sometimes you'll see 2 or 3 times, because if they get knocked out, then I don't play them. Now the Rams I had in 2 teasers, they're alive. I'm fine with them. So I think Oregon wins big. I think this should go over, but I like Oregon. Oregon at home is a whole different animal. They will. It's loud, and they know it's a playoff game, and they're just going to score and score and score, and they'll get up 30, 40 points, and then they just run out the clock. So you might not get over, but you definitely will get Oregon with the W here. So go Oregon. Tulane miss. Mississippi should win the game. But it could be a little closer. And then Miami and A&M take the dog. I think it's a tease the dog game. Only because of Miami's defense. I hate Miami's coach, Carson Beck. Okay, he's a Georgia guy, so I like him. A&M choked against Texas, so I don't know what to do with them. They had a weak schedule. They only beat Notre Dame and Arkansas. I mean, come on. So shouldn't be in there. Not a playoff team. Miami, they lost to Louisville and then at SMU. So SMU's okay this year, not great. But their defense, I don't think anybody scored more than 25 on them. So if you're getting points, A&M won't score too much on them. You just hope Beck doesn't turn the ball over too much. It's always the turnovers, the punt returns, the pick sixes, not the way you normally look at the game, right? Well, A&M won't score. Miami, good defense, but it's when they're not on the field is when it fucks you up. Profit. One word stat I found on Oklahoma is that they are not a very good home team. Well, I don't know. They lost to Texas, was a neutral site. They beat LSU. They had some good wins. Missouri, I think, was at home. But you had them at 1. And I think you could have had either team at 1. So you could have played them as a home dog. I don't know. How good was Alabama on the road? Alabama lost 3 games. They lost to Georgia, and they lost to fucking Florida State. I mean, I don't know. Alabama played better once they settled down. I thought they were very nervous in the beginning. And then Oklahoma just went south. It was like, hello, Oklahoma, where are you? So that's today. So Miami A&M teased the dog. Ole Miss, Tulane, I have no idea. I think Ole Miss wins it, but I don't know if they'll cover. It's a tough game because Lane Kiffin, again, leaves. He must have like 15 wives or girlfriends. He was at Tennessee for 5 minutes, and then he went to USC, and then he went, I think, to the Raiders, and then he went to Alabama as the offensive coordinator. Then he went to Florida Atlantic. Now he's at Ole Miss. Now he's at LSU. And, as soon as something goes, and nothing really went wrong with him, Mississippi, and he just leaves. No loyalty at all. I don't like the guy. But he's a good offensive coordinator. So with him, I would have taken Ole Miss. Without him, and without the Tulane coach, I don't know what to do with it. So we'll leave that alone. Nothing until Monday after these 3. So it's noon, Miami A&M. It's 3:30, Tulane, Ole Miss. It's 7:30, James Madison, Oregon. Unbelievably, these games are on TNT, and I think that's the Ole Miss and the Oregon game are on TNT. I don't have TNT. I have a weird cable. I have Spectre, and they just don't. They're free if they carry them, but they don't carry them. And now we get to the big boys. All right, week 16, Philly at Washington. First, we'll go through the game. Then we'll go through the weather, which I've already went through. Not a weather. It's cold here in Michigan, but I don't see like Cleveland. Chicago got a little colder. Buffalo, Cleveland, not bad. No big weather, no big wind or anything. So we'll go through that. So we got Philly 744.5. Philly in a must win. Well, if they win, they clinch. So Philly wants to win. Obviously, 744.5. Hurts against Mariota. Philly 5-1 is a road favorite. Philly also play against 6-0 as a road favorite. They play close games and play against Philly's 12-2. However, they need the game, and Washington is Z team. Their trends mixed because you had some Daniels and then it's Mariota, and they can move the ball, but I don't think they'll move it against Philly. Philly's an under team with a 16 defense, and Washington the Z team with a 28. So Washington's going to struggle against Philly's defense. Philly, Hurts is so bad, and I assume they'll run Barkley a lot, and then there were wide receivers. A.J. Brown's good. Devontae Smith doesn't do anything. But you're laying nothing, right? You're laying 1 or a half, and I wouldn't money line this. I don't understand money line. Why the fuck would you money line this at minus whatever, 200 when you can tease it for the same 110 that you do in a teaser, and then you got a second game that you get to shave the 6 points off of. So I don't get what in the world you would do to tease this game, to money line this game. It doesn't make sense. Anyway, Hurts and Mariota. Eric, good morning, Eric. Green Bay, Chicago. Chicago's now a 1. I warned you. I gave you as the free play the Bears plus 1.5. And I warned you they would be favored, and that's exactly what happened because Micah Parsons obviously is out. So the Bears -1, 46.5. Love against Caleb. They're both B teams. Green Bay with the 21 defense, not with Micah Parsons out. They're probably more 25, 26. The Bears with an 18 defense. So their defense is getting much better as they got the guys back from injury. So they're both B teams. Clearly, it was a good pick with the Bears as a home dog in this without Micah Parsons. Love's not going to beat you. The weather's not too bad. A little cold, but for these teams, nothing. Play against Green Bay as a road favorite is 11-2 the last 2 years. Chicago is 6-0 at home this year. I can't use last year's because I didn't have Ben Johnson, right? So variables change. They're 5-1 as a home dog this year, and they're 12-2 in a teaser this year, the Bears. So it's a Bear play. Green Bay beat them by 7 with Micah Parsons, 28-21 a few weeks ago in Green Bay. I have a strong feeling Chicago wins this game straight out. This is the free play. I got 27-17 Chicago winning. Very strong run game. I think that Ben Johnson just knows how to block. He knows blocking schemes, I guess. That's all I can say because they ran really good at the Lions. The Lions aren't running really good this year. And then he ran. Now, part of it is the new center and the new guards, right? But then he comes here with nothing, and they're running the ball down Philadelphia's throat. So that's the key. You always look for that other matchup, and the way they handled Philly. And believe me, they're going to beat Detroit the last game. I guarantee you that. Even if Detroit needs the game to make the playoffs, and the Bears don't, the Bears are going to win that game. So I like the Bears, 27-17, free play. Merry Christmas. Profit. Bears line has moved 4 points this week. Well, Micah Parsons was out. They didn't know the extent of the injury, but no, it's only moved 3. Green Bay was a 1.5, and now Chicago's a 1 here. So it's moved 3.5 points. 1.5 and 1. It's moved 2.5 points. Greg and John, hey, the Bears are playing Green Bay. This is your 8:20 game. And this is why these college games are on TNT. You got Philly, Washington on Fox and Green Bay, Chicago on Fox, as these are like Saturday games. The Philly game doesn't start till 5. So I'll run to the pool. I'll probably watch part of the Miami game, run to the pool, and then come home for the Philly, Washington game, and then Green Bay, Chicago. And, again, Philly needs it. Washington's a Z. And the Bears, they don't really need it because they're winning the division. But if they lose, Green Bay's winning the division. So I guess it's kind of a playoff game. But without Micah Parsons, Green Bay drops. Their defense goes from a 21 to probably a 24, 25. He's such a dominant figure that without him, Now we did have Denver over Green Bay last week, and Denver lit them up pretty good. I don't know. Everybody doesn't like Bo Nix. I don't know why. The guy's 30 and what is he? 30. Bo Nix is 30-2 in 32 games in the teaser. Yeah, I don't like him either. Jesus, what do you want there, fellas? All right, free play. So you got free play. We don't really have the free play was Alabama, Oklahoma under yesterday. The Bears are the free play. Now I do have a lot going today, and I have a lot going today, and I'll probably have a lot tomorrow. There's a game I really like that I haven't locked yet, but I think I will. Bo Nix is the best. Yeah, I don't get. He's very accurate, and he's really starting. He really didn't have good receivers, right? They got rid of Jerry Jeudy, and I think he's got that one guy. I can't remember his name, but now he's starting to get used to his receivers and get the timing. Oh, you got a kid from Oregon, Franklin, who's catching all these touchdowns. So they played at Oregon together. I don't think he was drafted, the free agent. So he's got this Franklin to throw to, and he's got this other receiver who's pretty good, Mims or one of those guys. And so he's starting to get, on with his receivers. They went defense. They got a very strong defense. They got Houston's got the 16 defense. Denver's got the 19 defense. So very strong defense there. Yeah, he's been great, Prophet. Bears play Green Bay. Yeah, we got that. All right. Tampa, Carolina, Tampa 345.5. This is a playoff game. The winner probably takes the division. Will at least have a game lead and probably will have the tiebreakers. At Carolina. I got to be careful of Carolina. They did beat the Rams. I think they beat a couple other teams. So they're playing better because they're running the ball and playing defense, not because of Steve Young. Right? He's not doing anything. So I think they've switched to this little 5-yard passing game and more running game and more defense. So it's not a gimme that Tampa wins here. But I have played the game, but I didn't play that. I played the total in the game. Tampa with the 30 defense, a W team with a 30 defense, but they got Mike Evans back, so look for them to score more. Carolina, an under team with a 22. Since they run the ball, it's a little bit that, but Steve Young can't play. I mean, he's terrible. So Baker against Young. Tampa 7-0 is a road favorite. It's the only teaser trend I could come up with. Now, Tampa's one of the rare teams I can use 2 years of trends on. But they've been so injured that their trends are all screwed up. Carolina playing better this year. I mean, the difference is Tampa's had the hard schedule. They're 7-7. Carolina had the easy schedule, and they're 7-7. So I think Tampa wins because they got Baker. And you get +3 with them. And I know people, well, I want to only tease if I get over 3. I get over the number. No, the point of the teaser here is to not lay the 3. Yeah, we think Tampa wins, and so we don't want to lay the 3. We get 3, which we don't even use. We don't even need the 3. We're taking Tampa because we think they'll win. And now we don't have to lay any points. It's better than money line. We're getting 3. Money line, it's even, and your odds suck. All right. So, big game. I think Mike Evans being back will help Tampa. The problem I have is their defense is so bad. But I think being a big game, we'll see what happens. This is when everybody comes back. Minnesota and the Giants, who really cares? We've got Minnesota 2.5, 43.5. Minnesota's an under team with a 19 defense, really good defense, but they don't have a quarterback. They got a high school quarterback, J.J. McCarthy. Unfortunately, they got an all-pro wide receiver who can't get the ball. The Giants, a W team, a 30 defense, and this is what's hurting the Giants. And Dart, who wants to keep running and getting concussions. He's not going to last too long. Again, this is why you want a throwing quarterback, not a running one. Play against the Giants the last 2 years is 26-5. This year, 12-2. So they're good to bet against, but it's hard to bet with J.J. McCarthy. And then it's hard to go over or under in the game. McCarthy every once in a while has a good game, puts up points. The Giants probably put up a little bit. I don't know, 44. It's a real tough number. Weather's fine because you don't know how the game's going to go. It's the ebb and flow. It's the punt return and the pick six and the sack fumble that really determines this game, not just the Minnesota defense and the weak Giant. So I think I would take Minnesota if they were the dog. Again, we've got them as a favorite, which again fucks it up. This is a really strange week because you got so many road favorites who don't belong to be road favorites. But I know normally I go under in the Minnesota games, but not against the 30 defense. So it's a very counterintuitive game, a very weak defense against a very strong defense, but they don't have a quarterback. So, all right. The JETSs go to New Orleans, and New Orleans 6.5, 40.5. The Jets are a Z team, and they're playing Brady Cook. The Jets give up 32 a game. New Orleans an under team because Tyler Shaw doesn't really. He's kind of a weak quarterback. He wants to run also. I love like Dart and Shaw. They all want to run. Yeah, okay. New Orleans, an under team with an 18 defense. So their defense is playing well. So I think the defense wins the game. Shaw's wants to run for points, fine. They did beat Tampa and Atlanta, so they're playing better. Play against New Orleans this year, 11-2. Play against the JETS is 7-1, and play against the Jets for the whole year is 12-2. So this is like a nightmare game. Brady Cook. Can you bet on Brady Cook? Hell no. So possibly an under because New Orleans really doesn't have much of an offense, but they have a good defense. The Jets have no offense, but a 32 defense. I took the Jets under last week, and Jacksonville lit them up. So I'm not going through that again. So this is a game I'm just going to watch. Maybe, I don't know. I can't play New Orleans, but I think they'll win. Cincinnati goes to Miami. Cincinnati 47.5. I think this is the sleeper of the board here. Cincinnati with Joe Burrow goes to an over team, right, with the 28 defense. They lit up Baltimore 2 weeks ago and Buffalo 3 weeks ago, 2 weeks. Now, yes, last week was the bitter cold, and I laid away from the over in that game, which I would play it over if they played this week. I don't know, too cold for the Cincinnati, whatever. They just didn't do anything. Miami is a B team with a 16 defense. Total is 47.5, which was 50. However, the key to this game, it's Joe Burrow, superstar, going against Quentin Ewers, who sucked at Texas. So he benches Tagovailoa, and I love this. This is so stupid. Well, let's see what we got. Did you not watch him for 2 years at Texas to see what you got? You're stupid enough to draft this guy, and you're worried about what do you have against Cincinnati. So Cincinnati 7-0 is a road favorite. Play against Cincinnati, however, is 12-2 this year. Now, you haven't had Joe Burrow for a lot of games. You've had him for 4 games. The fact that a guy like Joe Burrow got shut out and threw, 3 bad interceptions last week, and he looked like shit, and he even said, I look like shit. He's going to come back with vengeance. He'll have blood in his eyes, and maybe with Tagovailoa, I maybe go over. But with Ewers, all right, Cincinnati's defense has looked okay. They looked great against Baltimore 2 weeks ago. Buffalo struggled a little bit. Last week, they only really gave up 17 points. It was a pick six that gave up the other. But basically, how's Miami going to stop Joe Burrow? And then what are they going to do with Quentin Ewers? He's going to light up. Now, Cincinnati's defense isn't that bad, but I mean, they're getting better, but how are they going to stop Joe Burrow and Chase? I mean, they're going to light them up, especially they're pissed. And I think they get T. Higgins back. So look for Cincinnati here. This is probably the one game I can not take a non-playoff scenario and just bet the shit on Joe Burrow. So you got to love Joe Burrow here, and he's getting 2 points from Quentin Ewers. Okay, now the only thing that can happen here is Ewers gets hurt and they go back to Tagovailoa, but they might not even go him. They might go to Mike White or whatever. So they'll win by 3 touchdowns, Cincinnati. All right. Kansas City and Tennessee. I don't know what to do here. KC 337.5. We've got an under team in KC with Mahomes. They don't score that much. And 22 defense, good defense. Minshew against Ward. Tennessee's a Z team with a 27 defense. They don't score. Their defense sucks. Play against Tennessee as a home dog is 6-1. Play against them this year is 12-2. Tennessee gets crushed every time. I'm not sure how KC's going to react, though. They've been eliminated, which they haven't been eliminated in 7 years. So, Minshew's played before. He's good. He's not like a Brady Cook. So I think KC wins the game just because Tennessee's so bad. It's hard to play it, though. Total at 37.5. KC with a really good defense. Tennessee sucks. I just think KC wins. It's the same plays with Minshew. Maybe Kelsey can actually catch the ball now and the rest of their receivers. But I don't know. It's hard what their mental capacity is for this game, knowing they just got eliminated to San Diego. So not sure. Probably KC, but finally they get the weak team and they're eliminated and there's no Mahomes. We've been waiting for this all year to lock Kansas City in this against the weak team. It's been terrible. San Diego, Dallas. We got Dallas is 2-50, maybe 2.5-50. San Diego, an under team with a 18 defense and Herbert. Dallas, an over team with the 29 defense, and Dak, Mr. 2 interception a game. He's back to that. This is a playoff game. San Diego is still trying to catch Denver. They're pretty much in as a wild card. Dallas will probably, if Philadelphia wins today, and I can't imagine they don't win today, then Dallas is out. And then what do we get? I don't think they can. They got to win the division. They can't win. They're 6-7-1. The best they can do is 9-7-1. It's not going to get them in because you've got the Rams, Seattle, and 49ers already over 9. And then you've got Green Bay and Chicago, which are 10-9. So Dallas is done with the loss. They can only win the division, and that means Philadelphia must lose. Philly wins. Dallas is done. So I like San Diego here. Live dog here. Bo Nix was drafted pretty low. These teams are clueless. Well, when a team like Indiana drafts Richardson because he runs fast instead of he's a bad quarterback, you figure that out, right? Denver was smart enough to draft him, and Penix was even drafted later, I think, by Atlanta, who fell into it because they traded for Kirk Cousins, figuring they could never get Penix, and then Penix was there. Unfortunately, he hurt his knee again, but we'll see what happens with him. But yeah, Bo Nix was very good at Oregon. I don't know what. Did you not watch the Oregon games to get a clue that he was good? Yeah, there were a bunch of quarterbacks taken right before him. Raiders aren't going to score much this week. Yeah, they're going to get shut out. If there's a prop bet to bet on Oakland getting shut out, I would bet that one. It's the only prop bet I would bet. It wouldn't surprise me if the Raiders get shut out against that Houston D. Nobody scores on Houston State. All right, we'll get to that game. Buffalo and Cleveland. Buffalo is trying to catch New England. New England plays at night. Buffalo's a game back now, and they split with them. Buffalo's trying for the 1 seed, but they're 2 games back of Denver. Well, Denver's got 2 losses. So, what is Denver's 12-2? Denver's got 12 wins. Okay. Yeah. So they're 2 games back of Denver. So really, realistically, they got to win the division, which means they got to win this game. Buffalo's 10 and 41.5. Buffalo an over team with the 25 defense. So their defense has always been their weakness. Allen against Prime Jr., a little bit of wind there in Cleveland, a little cool, but not terrible, and it won't affect Buffalo. Cleveland's a W team. They don't score with the 24 defense. Cleveland got killed by Chicago last week, and I got a feeling the same thing's going to happen here. They're going to get killed by Buffalo. Buffalo needs to win. Cleveland has a decent defense with Myles Garrett once in a while, but then they lost 31-3 to the Bears last week. So I don't know. Cleveland's got a decent defense, but I think Josh Allen will run around it. I don't like Josh Allen running so much, and he doesn't slide, but he's been lucky not to get hurt yet. So Buffalo in a must-win game. No teaser trend on them. They're not as strong on the road as they are at home, but they did beat New England at New England last week. So here you go. Atlanta, Arizona. I don't get this game. Atlanta 3-48. Atlanta's a W team with a 27 defense, Kirk Cousins, and Arizona's a Z team. They have mailed it in. They got a 34 defense. And a lot of players sit out, and they don't score. And Cousins against Brissett. Cousins isn't that good, but against Arizona, he is. Play against Arizona this year, 13-1, 5-0 against as a home dog. So Arizona does not play well at all, and if we bet against them, we win. They're as bad as Tennessee and the JETSs. All the bad teams you bet against, and all the good teams you bet on. So that's the script. Now, will Atlanta, again, they're the road favorite. Now, if Atlanta was the road dog, I'd be all over them. They made them the road favorite, and I just hate playing road favorites. Now, maybe you can make a small bet on Atlanta here. At least they have Kirk Cousins, who's quarterback, not very well, but he's quarterback before. And Brissett's not bad. Atlanta, pretty decent defense, and Arizona's basically quit. But I can't really trust Kirk Cousins on the road. Maybe one very small teaser, but I don't like it. The other game where it was Cincinnati, now who was it? Tampa Bay -3. That's a playoff game, and it's just a big game. We can maybe go with Baker there. We think Tampa will win the game here. I don't really trust Kirk Cousins and think they're going to win the game. I think they will win it, but I got other fish to fry before I go to an Atlanta game. Jacksonville, Denver 3-47. I have played this game, but not the way you think. Denver, an under team with a 19 defense. Jacksonville. Now this is the phony. This is paper gold. Jacksonville is an A team with a 15 defense. All right, that's last 5. But when you look at who they played, they got killed by Seattle. They got killed by the Rams. They got killed by the Niners. And so they did beat Kansas City. I looked at the Houston game as common denominator. How did they do against Houston? And it was like a 70-point game. It was 34-27. Houston beat them. And so I'm noticing they're not a 15 defense when they play a Seattle, a Ram, a Niner, Houston, Indy. That they're not They're not really the 15. I think it's just been the 5 that I'm looking at, the last 5 with the New England, maybe a Miami, New Orleans. I mean, it was who they played in the 5 that gives them a 15 defense, but not overall. Overall, let's see, their defense is overall their defense is a 21. Right. But if we look at the last 5, it's the Jets, it's Indy with the banged up quarterback, it's Tennessee, it's San Diego. They did held to 6, and then Arizona they gave up 24. So is it a 15 defense average because Tennessee 3, San Diego 6, but they gave up 24 to Arizona and 20 to the JETSs. So they're not a 15 defense like Denver's a 15 defense. Denver does it. KC 19, Oakland 7, Oakland 17, Washington 26, 20. But I'm noticing a lot of points, except for that 10-7 Oakland game. Denver 22 on KC, 27 Washington, 24 Oakland, 34 on Micah Parsons, and a lot of others. So I see the game. Now, this is a Denver wins. They clinched the 1 seed, I believe. And Jacksonville needs to win to keep it. But again, they're in Denver, which is huge. The weather's fine, 50 and sunny. So we don't really trust. I'm not sure of Denver being an under team or not. And I'm not sure of Jacksonville being an A team. But they are playing better. They're playing very well, Jacksonville. So I give them credit. Total of 46. I think it's a total game. I was going to take Jacksonville in 9, but after seeing how they played Seattle, LA, and the Niners, I'm not on that. Although I do think they will score on Denver. Denver with Bo Nix, 11-0 as a home favorite, 30-2 in a teaser, 14-0 this year in a teaser, 5-0 as a home, obviously. So they cover every week. They're laying 3. They're going to win the game, I think, and clinch. They're playing very well, and they destroyed Dallas at home, and they beat KC at home. They got San Diego. I believe that's at home next week. So I'd like to see them win and clinch. And Jacksonville, I don't think is as strong as they. I think they're strong if they play Miami or the Jets or something like that. Again, this is the NFL. When they get in against the better teams, the Denvers, the Philadelphias, Baltimore, Buffalo, well, not Buffalo, they're not going to, well, look at them. The Rams, Seattle, and the Niners, they got killed in all 3 games. So definitely I like the total in the game. And maybe if you want, take Denver +3. I mean, I like that. I like the total better. Oakland and Houston, as we've talked. Houston 14-38. Yes, Oakland will get shut out with Kenny Pickett. They're a Z team with a 29 defense, last 5. Houston's an A team with a 16. They're killing everybody. I mean, they're just saying they beat Baltimore 44-0, even though they had the backup who's not terrible, Cooper Rush. Houston 5-0 as a home favorite, 10-1 the last 2 years. We can use it. Coach has been there. 30-3 in a teaser the last 2 years. Them in Denver. 14-0 in a teaser this year. Play against Oakland, 6-1 as a road dog, and 12-2 overall this year. So you bet against Oakland, you bet on Houston, and now you get them together. So off we go with this. Now it gets a little spicy here because, yes, under 44, strong play. Houston -8. You kind of don't like to lay 8 in the pros, but I think in this case, I think you're getting under 10 is probably the way to go. I got a guy who's like, "Oh, I don't like to lay a lot of points and that." And I go, "But somebody." It's really hard to talk to people like that because somebody has to win the game. If you don't like to lay 8, take 20 in Oakland. I mean, so it doesn't make sense. Every game there's a winner. There's multiple winners, right? Either they're going to win by 8 or the 20 is good or the over or the under. Somebody has to win them. So to just automatically, I'm not going to play. I don't want to lay 14. Yeah, I don't know. So it's under 10, which is a key number. It's a must-win game for Houston. They're still trying to get in as a wild card, and they're trying to win a division. And if Jacksonville loses to Denver, Houston's tied with Jacksonville, and they probably play one of the last 2 games. So that's what you have there. And again, Oakland, as bad as they're playing and their defense sucks, makes, I think, Houston a very live play, even though it's 8. And, of course, the under 44.5. As we've noted, it'll be Houston 34, Oakland nothing. I mean, probably somewhere in that neighborhood. My favorite team, Pittsburgh and Detroit. Detroit 7-52. I was watching the 1978 season on YouTube. It's a little half hour, and they go through the games, and then they get to the Super Bowl. And Pittsburgh beats Dallas. And I'd watched the year before, 77, and Dallas beats Denver in the Super Bowl. And then here comes Pittsburgh. Now, here's a real team, not Denver. And Harris and Swan and everything. Bradshaw really sucked, but they had such a great defense. And it just shows you. But I thought it was weird that I was watching that going, oh, maybe I should bet Pittsburgh this week. Detroit, Pitt's an under team with a 21 defense, which I'm not sure. Without J.J. Watt, it's 21. And although they have Aaron Rodgers. So I'm not sure it's an under team with Aaron Rodgers. They put up 27 on Baltimore. They put up 28 on Miami. So I think they're getting to be more of an E team. They score mid-20s and they give up 21. Detroit, an over team. They score a bunch. They give up 29. I think they scored 31, give up 29. And that's why they're an over team, because good offense, they're going to score for you, but no defense. Now, we've been locking Detroit overs the last 3 weeks. We win them all. We had them again. Who was it last week? Jesus. Detroit. Oh, the Rams. And I love that call. I called 40-32 and the game ended 41-34. How about that? Once in a while, I can name the score. I think this will be high scoring as well. I think Detroit scores in the 30s, and I think Aaron Rodgers there's no secondary, no pass rush. He lit up Baltimore, who has a decent defense, and then he lit up Miami, who's been playing well. I see him in the 30s. I think this is at least a 60-point game. So here it's 51.5, 52, 46 is 20, 27-20. I mean, last week in the Ram game, at halftime, I needed a field goal the rest of the game to win. It was 24-17, and we needed 40. I think we need 46. And then we got a touchdown in the third quarter, and that was it. And I love betting overs on Detroit because they come out really strong, and then they kind of piddle around in the fourth quarter and choke it off. But you're facing Aaron Rodgers. Now, if we were facing Cook or Ewers, no, I wouldn't go over. But with Aaron Rodgers, he's gonna feast on this secondary. So, does Detroit win? I don't even know. I can't even say that. I can say it'll be a 60-point game, but I can't say Detroit's going to win. I know Detroit, they don't lose 2 games in a row. How good are they at home? They barely beat the Giants at home. They lost to the Packers. So no, they don't lose 2 games in a row. So you would think they would beat Pitt, but you don't have the defense to beat Pitt and Aaron Rodgers. He will be clever. He will figure it out. And how are they going to stop DK Metcalf and my buddy Gainwell, the running back? The tight end's good. I don't, to try to put pressure on Aaron Rodgers is not going to work because he understands when he sees a blitz, he'll get out of it. He's not like Kirk Cousins and go, what do I do with the blitz, or K-Love or Love or any of these idiots? So they played Green Bay 31-24. Thanksgiving, that's a 55. Here it's a 51-52 down to 46. Enough said there. So look for points. Look for a 60-point. Both teams in the 30s, 31-30, 35-30. I don't think they'll score as much as the Rams did because Pukanuka, but I think they putting up the 27 against Baltimore. I think Rodgers is heating up with DK Metcalf, so look for that combination and get a few touchdowns. New England to Baltimore. Baltimore 348.5. New England's trying to catch Denver for the 1 seed, and they got to keep ahead of Buffalo to win the division. They don't really want to be a wild card. Don't know what that is. Baltimore must win to catch Pittsburgh. So this is a playoff game, kind of. But who's the better team here? Lamar stinks. He missed practice again. He's got the bad leg. I think finally we've got a live dog. I think we've got, instead of New England being favored by 3 and we can't bet it, like we saw with Minnesota, Cincinnati, Atlanta, here we actually have a very strong dog in New England. So play it that way. Baltimore, New England an 18 with a 21 defense, and Drake May. Baltimore an under with the 23 defense, and Lamar is really stinking it up. And New England 13-1 in a teaser, 6-0 as a road dog this year. They're winning, they're covering, they're playing good defense. Drake May bothers me a little, but against Baltimore, this game should be a close game. This is definitely a tease the dog game. In our last game, Frisco Indy. Frisco 10-4. Now we've got Seattle got the win. They're 12-3. So if Frisco wins, they'll be 11-4, tied with the Rams and a game behind Seattle. Yes, it was the worst call I've ever seen, the lateral. And, how do you get a 2-point conversion on that? If it's 4th down and they lateral and it's a fumble, it has to go back to the 2-yard line. So why wasn't it treated like that at worst case? But it wasn't a fumble and you had no catch. I mean, it was an incomplete pass basically. So I don't know how Seattle gets awarded the 2-point conversion on that. That's ridiculous. Some of these rules just are ridiculous. Frisco, 5.5, 46.5. An A team with the 20 defense. They're getting better and better with Purdy. They're looking very good. They're 5-0 as a road favorite this year. Indy's an under team with the 25 defense, and Doc Rivers, the coach of the Boston Celtics, is going to be the quarterback. I like Rivers when he was on San Diego and he would throw the ball to Antonio Gates and the other guy. But I'm not buying that he sat out 5 years. Okay, they had a good game against Seattle. The Niners need the game. They're the better team. They got the better quarterback. They got the better defense. I think the Niners, it's 5.5. Do we go over or under in the game? I don't know. 46.5. I think the Niners with McCaffrey put up in the 20s. And then what do you get from Doc Rivers is the question. So this is a harder game. I think the Niners win it. I don't think Rivers is going to be all that. So your free play today, take the Bears. Looks like they're laying 1. So you get 5. No Micah Parsons. They're going to win the game. No question. 27-17, the Bears. Philly, Washington's the first game. And then you get your 3 college games. So again, Miami A&M, close game. I think. I mean, Miami's defense, it looks real. We'll see. And again, they beat Florida State and Florida and South Florida and Pitt and NC State. They held a 7 who have really good offenses. So Miami, I think, feels lucky to be there. A&M, I don't know that they're ever that good. Their only win was Notre Dame. And then they played one good game, Texas, and lost to Arch Manning. So I think that'll be a close game, just like last night's. Oregon will kill. And I don't know what's going on with Mississippi and all these. I don't know how the coach can fucking leave before the playoffs. I mean, I don't understand that. Couldn't he say, well, let's negotiate after? I don't get it. So those are your 3 college, and we got the 2 pros today. Let's look at injuries. Fantasy implicated Rashid Rice is ruled out for Kansas City. Who cares? T. Higgins remains in concussion protocol. What does that mean? Gardner Minshew takes over for Mahomes. We know Rice has been ruled out. Okay. Cincinnati Bengals receiver T. Higgins remains in concussion protocol after reporting symptoms following their loss to Buffalo week 4. But it's strange. Higgins was limited in practice Thursday and has not been a full participant in over 2 weeks. So you're not telling me anything. Higgins is still questionable. All right. TJ Watt's out. Well, obviously, he had a collapsed lung. Lane Johnson for Philly, their tackle, and their defensive tackle, Jalen Carter. Underwear procedures on both of his shoulders. So Johnson is dealing with a foot issue and hope to return. So I guess they're out. Yeah, they ruled out. So the right tackle's out. Okay, not worried. Jalen Carter is out. We knew that. That's not a surprise. They did well last week without Jalen Carter. And again, it's Washington. You just got to worry about Mariota running a little bit. So the Eagles, those are the 2, Carter and Johnson, Washington. But Jalen Daniels is out. Tunsil's out, the tackle. Tight end Yankoff is out. And Eddie Goldman, the defensive tackle's out. Green Bay, Lloyd, the running back's out. Tight end, I never heard of. Guards out. And a linebacker, Colin Oliver. But they don't even list. Why aren't they listing Marshawn Lynch? See, because he's not on the injured list, but he's out. So they should list him here. It's very deceiving. Josh Jacobs is questionable with a knee and an ankle. A couple more tackles are questionable. Christian Watson and Devontae Wicks are questionable. The Bears, Luther Burden's out. Who cares? Romo Ducey's out. Who cares? They're not very good anyway. Amon Ogboga, the linebacker, is out. DeAndre Swift, questionable with the groin. Well, questionable to play. So, yeah, they got 2 receivers out. They got other receivers. It's not a big concern. The way Caleb throws, you don't even need receivers. They're just going to run it down Green Bay's throat. Tampa Bay, no injuries. Wow. Carolina, defensive tackle out, linebacker out. It's good to see Tampa healthy. Minnesota, tackle out and a defensive tackle out. I never heard of. The Giants, Bo Collins, he's out. He's a wide receiver. Guard out, defensive tackle out. Thibodeau, we've heard of. He's out. You almost want to bet Minnesota. The JETSs, tight end out, defensive lineman out, linebacker out. Fields is questionable with his concussion, and Tyrod Taylor's questionable with his groin and knee, but they're starting with Cook anyway, so I don't know. Who cares? New Orleans, the tackle and the guard out. Kamara is out for New Orleans, and they're still laying 6 to the JETSs. Okay. Cincinnati, defensive end is out. Noah Fat, tight end out. Charlie Jones, he's an announcer from the 70s. He's out. T. Higgins, questionable with the concussion. And then what about Hendrickson? Is he in, out? Miami, Minka Fitzpatrick out. And he's the only, but of course we know Tyreek Hill's out. This is a bad injury list. It's not thorough enough to, Micah Parsons should be on this, right? Kansas City, McDuffie out. Chenal out. Jalen Moore, tackle out. Rashid Rice out. Another tackle, Taylor out. Thornton, a wide receiver out. Bringstool, tight end out. Nazeeh Johnson, cornerback out. And a defensive tackle out. So both tackles are out. McDuffie, who's all pro, is out. This is why they're only 3 points over Tennessee. But we'll see how the rest of this. That's 2, 4, 6, 8, 9. This is, and oh, by the way, Mahomes is out. Yeah, you forgot to mention him. And so that's the thing is, how do they play when they're out of the playoffs? And it looks like a lot of their players aren't going to play. Tennessee, 2 linebackers are out. A wide receiver we've never heard of is out, and that's it. How can the cornerback with an Achilles be questionable? Either you got an Achilles and you can't walk, or you don't have an Achilles. San Diego, wide receiver Davis out, and safety Mickens is out. Otherwise, that's it. Dallas, cornerbacks out, tackle out. 3 cornerbacks are questionable. Buffalo, left tackle out, defensive tackle out. The kicker has been out, and Jordan Phillips is also out. So they got 2 defensive tackles out. I think Phillips is a starter. And I don't know, left tackle, Chase Lunt, who knows? And you got to realize those positions, you've got backups. On defense, you're rotating your line. You have 8 guys, and you're rotating the new line, to keep them fresh during the game because it's so hard to rush the passer every down. So to have a couple of tackles out is not a big deal. The offensive line, you probably have 8 guys also. So I'm sure they have a backup left tackle. With Josh Allen, it doesn't matter. He's going to run around. Cleveland, Jack Conklin, Michigan State out, tackle. Nkoji, the tight end's out. Linebacker out. Dylan Sampson, Tennessee running back out. Denzel Ward, quarterback out. Why are you listening to Deshaun Watson like he's going to play? So they've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 guys out for Cleveland. So Buffalo's left tackle's out. Cleveland has a tackle out. So, you can't get too caught in. It depends on the injury. As long as it's not Josh Allen, as long as it's not, you saw with Burrow out or Mahomes, that's where the key is. So KC, forget the other guys. It's Mahomes isn't playing. And then you've got to, do you want to bet without Mahomes? No, thank you. Atlanta, wide receiver, cornerback out. Never heard of him. Drake London is questionable. We've heard of him. Arizona, offensive tackle out, safety out, guard out. 2 quarterbacks out. Defensive end questionable. Marvin Harrison heel questionable. Oh, he's going to come back. So we got to see on that. But they had like 10 guys out last week. This week they've got 5. So they're getting healthy. Jacksonville, running back I've never heard of out. Defensive lineman out and a linebacker out. Denver, just a linebacker out. Denver's very healthy. Oakland, the tackle's out. I'm sure everybody cares. Houston has really no anybody out. Alzir is questionable. Captain Kirk is questionable. Woody Marks questionable. Nick Chubb questionable. Stingley questionable. So nobody out. They're all going to play. They all have to win. NFL fines Pukanuka $25,000 for the comments about officiating. That said, he said they only call the penalty to get on TV. He says one guy he overheard him saying, "Well, there was no pass interference. I just wanted to get on TV." So now you got refs trying to get on TV by calling penalties. Oh my God! All right, Pittsburgh, T.J. Watt. We know he's out. A guard and a corner. Linebackers doubtful. All right. Detroit, Kirby Johnson's out. The safety and a tackle's out. The other tackle, Tyler Decker's questionable with his shoulder. Graham Glasnow, their center's questionable. This Mahogany's questionable. Detroit is in trouble offensive line-wise. We know that. And so they've only got one tackle out who is nobody, but their center and guard are questionable. They'll play. It's the only problem I have with Dan Campbell. He if the guy gets hurt, you're out there anyway. That's why there's so many injuries on the Lions. New England, one guy, linebacker Spillane's out. Some defense are questionable. Baltimore, two linebackers are out, and Uwazi, the cornerback's doubtful. Kyle Hamilton's questionable with an ankle. And we got nothing on San Francisco, Indy yet. I don't know what they're waiting for. Cowboys expect to get quarterback Trevon Diggs back on Sunday. So we'll see. If Philadelphia wins today, then Dallas is out. So we will see. All right. Let's recap the weather. Philly, Washington, 37 and clear. Not a problem there. 6-mile-an-hour winds. Green Bay at the Bears, 29, 16-mile-an-hour winds. Let's look at it a little deeper. At kickoff, 29. Feels like 19. 16-mile-an-hour winds. Then it goes to 21 and 17-mile-an-hour winds. Then it goes to 19 with 17-mile-an-hour winds and 17. So it's really 30 degrees there, but with the wind. Now, is the wind going to be constant? I don't know. It's at the Bears. Who does this help? It actually helps the Bears because it's harder to throw in the wind. And Love can't throw anyway, but the Bears are going to run it down their throat. So it really won't matter. About the win. And okay, Oduzzi's out. They got 6, 7 receivers, these teams. Buffalo, Cleveland. We've got kickoff 29 feels like 17, 16-mile-an-hour winds. 16 and 16, 16 and 16, and then 16 and 15. So it's going to be 15, 16 degrees, and it's going to be 15-mile-an-hour winds. That it's got to help Josh Allen more than it helps Prime Jr. San Diego, Dallas indoors. KC, Tennessee, 49. Slight chance of rain. I'm not going to, so maybe it's 40. Jets, New Orleans indoors, Minnesota and the Giants, 38 and clear with 15-mile-an-hour winds. Tampa, Carolina, 58 and clear with 6-mile-an-hour winds. So we like that. Cincinnati, Miami, 80 degrees, 9-mile-an-hour winds. Jacksonville at Denver, 60 degrees, partly cloudy, 5-mile-an-hour winds. Atlanta, Arizona in a dome. Pitt, Detroit in a dome. Oakland, Houston in a dome. New England, Baltimore, 34 degrees, chance of rain, light rain. We got 17 and 8, 16 and 8, 15 and 8, and 14 and 7. So it's going to get colder. This is your night game, which will help New England. I think they got the better defense, and Lamar is going to be cold. And I think Drake May, he's okay. He's going to run. I think, like I said, New England's live, and then Frisco, Indies, indoors. So that's your weather. That's your injuries. My plays are in. I might add one. I'm debating what to do with the Ole Miss game. And that's at so in the playoff today, probably the best games, Miami A&M. That's at noon. And then you got Tulane, Ole Miss, and James Madison, Oregon. So Oregon is probably the best. They're going to win. That's probably no doubt. Ole Miss should win. Tulane may play them a game, and then Miami A&M should be a close game. Now I saw a line on next week. You've got Alabama going to Indiana, and Indiana's a 7-point favorite in the Rose Bowl. So after today, we will get our matchups. My point on the best teams, Texas Tech. I think Ohio State's been there. Indiana hasn't been there. They got a tough matchup with Alabama. The way they came back against Oklahoma, it's going to be tough. I'm not buying Mendoza's this good. No, I was not impressed with Ty Simpson yesterday. He did. I think once they settled down, they played better. Their defense played better once they settled down after falling down 17-0. They struggled with the Georgia defense. That was a big game for them, and then they struggled here, and then they got the pick six. Really helped them. I don't know. I got to see, but Alabama, good coach, quarterback's okay. I'm not buying Indiana's all that. Ohio State's got a weak quarterback. Texas Tech's the best. Somebody said Baron Morton chokes. I'm like, what are you talking about? He beat BYU twice and Utah. The game they lost, he didn't play, so don't go there. Georgia, again, their defense is starting to play, so be careful with them. But Texas Tech's the best team. All right. Questions, comments on that? Okay, nothing since the Raiders getting shut out. So we got Germany leaving NATO. We've got NATO collapsing. We've got Russia is up 75 over Ukraine, 75 to nothing. They're trying to get rid of Keir Starmer and go with the other guy. He's a Soros guy. These Soros guys are really bad. I don't get why Soros isn't in jail or taken out yet. It doesn't make sense that he's still there and he's a Nazi and they're letting this guy, and the U.S. takes him in. Biden gave him a medal. I mean, this is how bad the U.S. government is, taking in a Nazi and giving him high positions, and he's creating this problem for the world. Print the fiat money and all that. We've seen looters in the UK. A lot of these people coming in are Islamics, and they're not obeying the laws. They're raping young girls. They're breaking into stores. They're doing machetes. It's a terrible thing going on in Britain right now, as well as France is in big trouble. Germany is in Europe's in big trouble. Now, this is the point. You don't ignore this. You understand this is what's happening. I don't like when people, the iceberg hit the Titanic. Well, yeah, but we won't sink. It was only an iceberg we hit. So you've got to be aware of what's going on. Silver's up to $67. You must be aware why, because the dollar's collapsed, the fiat currency. But the other thing is they're not going to announce it. They're not going to say the dollar's worthless. You just have to watch it. You have to watch what the banks are doing. So you got to be careful. The banks will be collapsing because of the loans they have out, right? If I owe for a mortgage and I don't pay it and I default, it's the bank that gets hurt. He doesn't get the money. If it's a car loan, he doesn't get hurt. Credit cards are about to collapse. They won't get paid back. And this is the problem. So you don't ignore this. You take it as, oh, okay. Just like we look at football. Today's game with the Bears. Oh, Micah Parsons is out. Did we ignore that Micah Parsons is out? Or did we say, hey, let's bet the Bears, Micah Parsons is out? Do we ignore that the Lions score 35 a game and can't stop the win? No. You bet them over half the time. Like last week against the Rams. The lock was, we won the lock with like 8 minutes left in the third quarter. They had gotten like 50 points by then. That's what you're looking for. You look for information and you use it. We see the information. We see everybody wants silver. The demand's huge. So we buy it because if the demand's huge, the price is going up. That's what happens. We see these countries. We see all these Islams coming in because George Soros is probably shorting all this. He probably shorted the euro, probably shorted the British pound. He's shorted the dollar. Hopes all these currencies go out. Doesn't care who he hurts. All he cares about is that he makes money, which is what he's doing. And that's the problem. So understand that when you get information, you must verify if it's good or not. So Mark McGuire wasn't on. This other idiot was on. And so Mark McGuire. Let's see. So I really hate this Andy Shackman. Evie still, better be. This is much worse than a silver price reset. It's not. Evie silver stacker, be paying attention. And you know what he's talking about? He's talking about COMEX and the ETFs, not necessarily giving silver to the people who have the ETFs. So he's talking about paper silver. Who gives a fuck? But he doesn't say that. He paints the picture because all he wants is views. So he says this totally misleading title of which he doesn't talk about. The silver you thought you owned just became someone else's. How misleading is that? If you own it, then I'm looking at it as physical silver or gold. And you're trying to warn me that you thought you owed just became someone else's. I'm like, it's mine. It's physical gold. But then what he talks about is COMEX and ETFs. And he's talking about paper gold. So the paper silver you thought you owned just became someone else should be the title. But he wants look. So I look at it, go, what the fuck's he talking about? And then again, this is why I don't like him and don't watch him too often. But he does these tricky little titles to get you to watch it. And it's very misleading. Anyway, okay, this is the one here with this whoever this idiot is. Mark McGuire wasn't on. Austrian Economics, the ultimate survival toolkit. It's not a survival toolkit. Now, this guy with the beard is supposed to be the Austrian economist, but he doesn't understand Austrian economics. He is in the von Mises. He's from von Mises, which is supposedly Austrian. I never follow von Mises. I don't need to. I already understand it. I got a master's in it. So it's kind of like I started listening to the guy, and he wasn't even close. Like I said, there's 5 things that you do in Austrian economics. 1, free trade. 2, limited government. 3, small taxes. 4, a military. And 5, gold-backed currency. Oh, yeah, and strong laws, right? Laws that actually work. That's Austrian economics. It came from Adam Smith, observing people. And that's what it is. It's basically Say's law. You make money. What do you spend it on? And that's what you're studying. What's people spending on? But you can't determine what people are going to spend. You can only see the pattern of what they spend it on and go. Socialism or communism or Keynesianism, they're telling you, they're just saying, we're going to make green cars and that's it. Well, I don't want a green car. See, your input doesn't come into it. The government looks at old stats and says, well, this is what people like, but it's not true. You can't assume what people will take. So that's basically the difference, but that's Austrian economics: free trade, Say's law, laissez-faire, invisible hand, keep the government the hell out, let the market run. It's basically market forces. And it's like here, the people bet on football games, I'll handicap. People interested in gold and silver, I'll do that because people are interested in it. Should I sell electric cars that nobody wants? Probably not a good idea. So there's a few things like that where the people, there's no demand, and yet people are building these products. That there was another product, but I can't remember it. Anyway, now the key is, who is this guy with the beard? Do we listen to him? He says he's von Mises. Do we believe him? And if he is he Austrian economic? Is he an economist, or is he just some guy that sweeps floors at von Mises? And the way he sounded, sounds like he sweeps floors there. Did not come across credible at all. So just because you see it, you still got to know, who am I listening to and talking to? And that's the critical point. So when you listen to these other guys, please be careful. They're trying to sell you stocks. You don't want to be in the stock market. Again, I was with my friend the other day for dinner, and he's again with this. Oh, I think the gold and silver stocks will run up because the silver and gold price are going up. But you got to understand the way stock market works. It's an auction. It only will go up if people bid it to go up. If even though the value of the silver mine goes up, because silver goes up, if nobody buys it, the stock won't go up. It can only go up if somebody bids it up, not the value of the company. That's the problem you have with Apple and Amazon and Tesla. They're bid up more than the company's worth, and that's why you get a bubble. You do not have a bubble in gold and silver. There is no bubble here. This is what it is. This is the price trying to catch up after the suppression of JP Morgan and Comex dropping it down. There's supposed to be this meeting, CFTC or whatever, on Thursday, and the stock and the silver price is going to go down. That AI Chinese guy said, and then I searched Google on Friday, and what was the result of the CFTC meeting? They didn't have one. Oh, okay. So no meeting. So I guess silver didn't go down on Thursday and Friday as it went up to 67. So again, you got to be careful, credible. Who are you listening to? I think this Chinese guy's AI, that if you come out, because he's on like 6, 7 different YouTube channels. And so I think it's only if you want AI. So in other words, I do it myself. But if I did AI for football and it wasn't me, it was some Chinese guy that spat out whatever, then he doesn't know what you can't really reference him. You can't, there's nothing you can do because he's not real. And he doesn't sound Chinese either. So that bothers me that he's on so many channels. So I think anybody that wants the AI uses this format of some Chinese guy and he talks in English, and you go, is this the same guy talking as I'm watching? And who is he? So I think he's just spitting out things from books or data that give you the information that he's trying to get across. So the CFTC, and he keeps comparing it. This is the one thing that I keep trying to ram home to you. You can't look at 1960 or 70 or 1929 or 1980 and compare it to today because the variables of BRICS has changed. You now have BRICS in there. And if you have BRICS in there, BRICS wasn't there in 1980 or in 2008. So you can't really say what happened in 1980 to the Hunt brothers is going to happen today. So they want to suspend buying. Well, yeah, but I don't think the Chinese and the Russians are going to go along with that. They're going to buy the silver cheap. They're not going to let the silver fall. So again, they weren't playing when the 1980s and the Hunt brothers. So it's a totally different scenario now. And yet he's trying to say, well, this is what happened in 1980. Look what happened in 2008. Look what happened in 2000 or 1929. It's got nothing to do with what's happening now. This is an individual thing. As I say with football, if Tom Brady goes to New England to Tampa, I can't use the New England trends anymore because I don't have Tom Brady. And by the way, I can't use the Tampa trends because now I have Tom Brady. So Tom Brady is the whole thing. As is BRICS. I didn't have BRICS before. Now I've got BRICS, and BRICS is controlling gold and silver, and off it goes. And that's what you got to understand. So be careful with who you're listening to. The paper silver you thought your own just became somebody else's. Again, a terrible line. The $100 window just started closing. Banks are banning. This is a bad video also. So what he's trying to say is, if you go to your coin store, the guy, and I want to sell my silver back he won't give me $67. What are you talking about? He'd give me $4,200 for my gold. If I took my gold in, let's say gold's 4,400, he'll give me 97%. He'll give me 4,300. So why wouldn't he give me $67 on my silver? So again, the guy talks but is incorrect and doesn't know what he's talking about, unfortunately. All right, it's 12:05. The A&M game has started. Then we got Ole Miss at 3:30 at Oregon tonight. We've got Philadelphia at 5 and the Bears at 8. So I think I'll swim at about 3 and be home at 5 for the game. I want to get Boneyard Barbecue, but it's Christmas coming up, so I could see going there maybe maybe Wednesday and carrying it out. I don't know what I'm going to do for Christmas dinner. Maybe a salmon. Sounds yummy. Maybe sloppy joes. Maybe ribs. So many choices. Anyway, that's what's going on. Good luck today. Again, the free play is the Bears. And then in college, we believe Oregon I believe Oregon, me and Schmiegel, will kill James Madison, the Sun Belt team. They're mismatched. And then we got the Miami game going on now. And really Ole Miss, Tulane. Tulane could keep it close. I think Ole Miss will probably win, but it's the coaching. You throw that variable in, and it's confusing to how they'll really play with the coach. But they are at home. I would think Ole Miss will beat them pretty good. So I got a lock going today, and I'll probably have a lock in the pros tomorrow. www.teaserking.com. You can buy the locks just by the week. $200 special. You get every game, pro and college, all the playoffs, all the bowls, all the NFL playoffs through the Super Bowl for only $200. It's $100 a week for my games. So you get, for $200, you get everything. You get 7 or 8 weeks. At a very good discount. And I think that's it. So let's go watch some football. If you need me, www.teaserking.com. Go to my homepage, you get my email. Otherwise, have a wonderful day. Have a wonderful weekend. I'll be on tomorrow at 11 for our pros, and we will recap today's action and look ahead for tomorrow. I think the injuries are in. The only injury we're looking at is T. Higgins, I think, out of concussion protocol, which I'm taking Cincinnati regardless. And that's about it. And no college until the 22nd. So on Sunday, 21st. So it's actually Monday. Monday we got Washington State, Utah State. So we'll see. I'm not getting. I was shocked yesterday with that NC State Memphis game where they 31-7 at the half. You're expecting 45-21, and then you see the backup quarterbacks in. I've never seen that before in a bowl game. It's not a practice. So they're looking at it as a practice, which is really making this a little more difficult, basing it on certain things that aren't happening. So anyway, have a good day and enjoy. www.teaserking.com. All right. Thank you, everybody. Enjoy your weekend.